Yo, what's up everyone? It is Josh with the Envision Vlog, back with another video. And it's Sunday, so I kind of let my hair down today, Bieber style. So as you can tell by the title, today we're talking about emojis. So I was browsing the internet and I found out through an article in Forbes that the Unicode Consortium has just approved 230 new emojis for like Apple and Android devices. Sometime last year, I believe it was around March, Apple actually pitched to the Unicode Consortium to actually have certain new emojis added that represented people with disabilities. But let's be real here, Apple is kind of at the forefront of inclusion as well as like representation, and so, you know, for the most part, this is like, yeah, we're expecting Apple to do this kind of stuff. So they made the pitch to the Unicode Consortium, and for those of you who are unfamiliar with what like the Unicode Consortium does, they're like the regulating body, and they kind of have like the sign off and approval of all the new emojis that get released for like Apple and Android products. The Unicode Consortium just came out, announced these 230 emojis, and they've got a lot of good stuff, but yes, they have released some that are representative of people with disabilities, and they are awesome. So I figured I'd just kind of go over a couple of them today. So this first one we have is the wheelchair. So you have your choices of wheelchair. You have motorized or powered wheelchair versus the manual wheelchair. And I think this is a pretty cool thing because, you know, they're not just representing, you know, just one wheelchair for like all types of wheelchair users. And on top of just having the choice between those two wheelchairs, they actually have the emoji that actually features people in wheelchairs, and you actually get to choose different races as well. And to me, this is awesome because it kind of shows that disability does not just affect, you know, one type of person. You know, there are people who are black who are in wheelchairs, people that are white who are in wheelchairs, Hispanics, Asians, everyone. You know, wheelchair usage and disability doesn't only affect like one type of person and one type of race. It can affect anyone. Another one we have is the blind probing cane, as well as people of different races using the blind probing cane. As a visually impaired person, I think this is solid because, you know, it kind of shows a little bit about like, hey, this is person's a visual impairment. They can include that. They're represented. It's great. I mean, what were we supposed to use to represent visually impaired people? This emoji? And not all visually impaired people wear sunglasses. So, yeah. And quite frankly, that's just trying to be a cool smiley face. Not that, you know, blind and visually impaired people aren't cool. I mean, we're awesome. Ugh, God, I really should have put hair gel in. And just how all blind and visually impaired people don't use sunglasses, not all blind and visually impaired people use canes. You have people like me who are learning to use the cane but don't really use it a lot. And then you have people who use puppies! Yes, they've included the service dog and the guide dog as well. So, you know, that's just another area of considering how, you know, visually impaired people don't all use canes. Some of them use service dogs. Now that some don't use service dogs, they can use canes. I mean, they really dug deep to kind of consider the whole realm of visual impairment in some aspects. And for your people that are hard of hearing, wear hearing aids, and are deaf, we have the emoji of pointing to the ear, signifying that someone is hard of hearing and deaf. From my experience, that has been the sign that I've often used to let people understand that I am hard of hearing, because oftentimes it brings people's attention to my hearing aids. But someone will be like, hey, I'm hard of hearing. You know, not everyone's going to get the idea of, oh, let me look at your ears. Let me see what we got there. Oh, I can't see because my hair's in my way. But, you know, if I go up and I'm like, hey, I'm hard of hearing, and then, you know, I point and then they can see there's the little wire there. Or, you know, sometimes I'll be a little bit extra and I'll be like, I love the sounds that I can put into these videos. But, you know, we're also seeing, once again, the different skin tones. And while I forgot to mention it as well, they also have like man versus woman and things like that. They're really doing well at trying to be as inclusive as possible. And, you know, hashtag winning, I think they're doing a very good job. Hey, what's up, y'all? So I was actually in the middle of editing the video and dropping in the pictures of the emojis when I realized I left one out. So also featured in here is the emoji for prosthetic limbs. So you have the arm and the leg. It is just another way how we're being more inclusive regarding people with disabilities. And, you know, it's not just using, you know, one type of emoji to represent all people with disability. They're really breaking this down for us. We now return to your regular schedule programming. And also the final one for me that I was just like, holy cow, they went there, they did it, kudos. They have an ear with a hearing aid in it. Different skin tones of ears here. Ears here, but mine don't. But that's why I have hearing aids. And now they have them in emoji form. Hats off to the Unicode Consortium for approving this. Hats off for Apple for pitching it. I do think this is good to have as part of our daily communication because emojis bring so much context into what we talk about and can provide so much more of a deeper understanding of the text that we send. Starting to move back to hieroglyphs at this point. So, you know, we need to keep on making all the emojis we can to represent everything. But in all seriousness, I really think this is a good thing because, you know, I think about it how cell phones are being integrated into our lives at such younger ages, and for like younger kids to start seeing these emojis and recognizing what hearing aids are and recognizing what, you know, that there's service dogs as well as canes, to recognize that there's different types of wheelchairs. You know, it kind of opens up the idea of understanding more about people with disabilities. Because when I was young, I was the one who told people about hearing aids. 4 years old, I was the kid with the weird things in his ear. And I had to tell my classmates everything I knew about hearing, what they were, that they weren't earrings, that they were used to help me hear. And having these emojis represent people with disabilities and having these as visual pictures can really open up conversations, you know, when people get curious and they're like, what does that emoji mean? I mean, a lot of people had questions on whether or not the poop emoji was poop or the top of the ice cream cone. But overall, I think this is just an exciting thing to happen. I love the idea of being able to express a little bit more about myself and my experience through the emoji. I love the idea of the inclusiveness and that, you know, we're taking steps forward to representing that disability is different for everyone. And then on top of that, everyone's experience with disability can be different as well. And then the other thing is that disability can affect anyone, regardless of any other identifying factor of you. But that's just my little bit of exciting good news on this wonderful Sunday. My spirits are up, unlike this hairdo. So that was going to be it for the video today. If you liked this video, by all means, give it a thumbs up and please share it. And then also, if you like any of my other videos, please consider subscribing to my channel. I try to upload at least once a week and try to do a lot of different content relating to my experience as a deafblind individual. But anyways, this is Josh with the Envision Vlog, signing off. Time to go get a haircut.